Hey guys, welcome back. Joe here again from ScaleFreak.com, coming to bring you bag 6 of getting this whole Sakura D4 rear-wheel drive drift kit set up. On this bag, we're going to install the servo, we're going to install the electronics, or at least show you what would go here, and of course getting the battery tray set up. So check out the video and see what the next steps are. Here we go, guys. Let's get into bag number 6. So this one here is going to be your servo saver, and it's going to be your electronics mount, as well as your servo mount, as well as your battery mount. Now for this one here, I will not be installing my electronics into this kit right now. I am not the greatest with wire tucking, and I'm not very great at soldering. I give all of this stuff to Chris Ketty to get it done. He is a phenom when it comes to making this stuff like absolutely amazing. So what I'll do is I'll get it up to the point that I would install the electronics, and then I'll show you how he installed the electronics in my other drift kit and how clean and nice it can actually be. So in this one here, there's a couple different things to show you. One of them being is that this truck or this drift kit does come with its own, servo saver. That I don't use, but I'll show you what it is and I'll explain exactly why. So in this little bag here, you get a bunch of little, we'll call them springs. What they are basically are just little pieces of metal in a half moon shape or a crescent moon shape that will fit inside of these little plastic pieces here to create a bit of a servo saver. Now the first thing you need to do when you have this piece is you'll notice how these guys here are actually 23, 24, and 25. So you need to find out what spline your servo is. I will be using the OMG servo from RC Mart. This one is the same as a Futaba and a Savox, which is a 25 tooth spline. So I picked the one that says 25. Now in here, just make sure you, again, take all the little trim off and stuff like that. What it comes with is take all these little springs, kind of size them all out. They're all, some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, and fit them all inside of each other, make them fit so that they're all like that. Then what you do, of course, is stick them inside the larger piece of plastic, and then I grab something like my 2mm driver and stretch them all the way on the inside of this little plastic guy here so that they all fit exactly in where they're supposed to. So just like that. Then what you do is you grab that little piece of plastic, you fit it in on the inside like so, and then you screw it to your servo. Now what that does when you get that screwed on is when you go to full lock on your servo, it will give you a little bit of extra play so that it doesn't, if you take a hard hit on your steering or something like that, those springs inside will absorb some of the shock that's getting hit on the servo. But again, once those springs heat up a little bit or your servo is twitching around like absolute crazy, it may actually reduce the performance of your steering itself, which I don't want to do. I'm pretty much going to take the chance that if I do hit something that hard, I will mess up my steering servo, but I haven't yet, and I haven't been using a servo saver in a long time. So instead what I did was I picked up an aluminum servo horn with the same spline that I needed, and I'm installing that one. So just kind of put that on there. You could pick these up from a hobby shop, or you can get them from RC Mart when you actually put your order in. Just remember you're looking for a 25 tooth spline. And then this specific one is actually a clamping as well, so it has a second screw on the bottom here to make sure that it's clamped on nice and tight and it's not going anywhere. So I'll get a nice direct feel out of that one. Now, it's time to get the servo mounted to the kit itself. So on each one of these guys here, there will be one little mount. So 1 and 2. And then what we're gonna do is to mount the servo to these, we're gonna pull out a couple of these little pink guys. We're gonna pull out a couple of these little guys here. And of course, a couple of these little screws here. So that's what we need. What I like to do first is pre-thread, I guess, pre-set up the screw into the actual chunk of plastic itself. Reason being is because once you're trying to hold this to the side of a servo, it becomes a wee tad bit of a nightmare to hang on to because you're only using one screw. And of course, the little ears on the side of the servo are open, so they try to jump out non-stop at you. So for this one here, all I'm going to do is hold it on there like that, press the thumb against it, and I'm not going to lock it right down. I'm just going to snug it up a little bit. The reason being is because once I get this thing installed onto the car, I may need to adjust the fitment, because sometimes it'll be a little higher than the chassis, and I slam them right onto the chassis. So that's one, and of course, I'll do the second one really quick here. Nothing like watching me do the same part twice. All right, and get that bad boy on there just like its little friend. And on. Now, on the servo, or on the chassis itself, just kind of run the wire just to get it out of the way. Find the spot that this is supposed to go. There's a couple holes on the inside. Just line it up. Just got to hold it a little closer to myself. 1 second. There we go. There's the one. And then there's these little 6mm countersunk screws that go through the chassis into the plastic. So there's the one, and there's the two. Perfect. So then I tighten these down, and then I'll make any adjustments that I have to the actual screws that are holding the servo in. In some cases, like I said, once these are tightened down, that servo, like in this case, I don't know if you can see it or not, is not completely, you can see a little daylight through there, it's not completely slammed down to the chassis, so I'll make that adjustment. So first I'll make sure that these are tightened down flat. That way the servo holds them straight, and then I just loosen up the ones that are on the servo. And that will allow me to push the servo closer to the chassis. So really, this OMG servo is going to be, there we go, completely flush mounted to the chassis itself and strapped down nice and tight. So that's exactly how it fits on there. See that? The wire, I just kind of hold it out of the way for now. I'm gonna stick it into the back. Ta-da. All right, now, you'll notice the height difference. The servo arm is way up here. The steering arm is way down there. How are we gonna make that work? Well, I like how they did this one. Grab the big, humongous long screw that's in there. Thread it up completely. This is a huge one. This is a great big 18mm screw, so it's gonna take a lot of turns. But you know what? Just crank it all the way up. You don't need to worry about tightening it anymore from the bottom once it's nice and snug. Then what you're gonna do is there's one giant spacer, two giant spacer, and then you have one of these guys to go on the top. So, of course, a little bit of thread lock. Screw that sucker down. And then because it's tiny, grab your tire wrench tool and then just finish tightening it down. And there you go. So now you'll notice that the servo arm and this guy here are about even height. Now, to make that connection from the one to the other, you are going to need another, You are going to need another link, which you don't need to watch me build. So I'm going to do that off camera. There's no need to watch another link get built. But you do remember you have to have a link for that. So again, grab this bad boy. Whoops. The 8mm screw. This one's going to screw through the back of this. Come out the front. Snug it down. And of course, you've got another one of those guys there. Bop, bop, thread lock. Screw it down. And of course, use the tire wrench. Ta-da! So now you've got that almost set up. Now I do want to mention one thing. You will want to power up your servo before you get to this point, because remember, you have not centered your servo arm yet. I don't have anything available to me right this exact moment to power it up. So I will center it later, at a later time, and then make sure that's set up correctly. But give me 1 second. I'm just going to build the link for this. I'll be right back. All right, so with this link built, just remember when you build this one to pay attention in the manual as to what the orientation of the ball openings are, because of course one is going to clip into the sideball. So snap, and one has to clip downward into the actual steering arm itself. So snap. So now that's all set up. So tiny little bit of servo movement, and that sucker will do its job. What an amazing setup. Remember guys though too, that when you are eventually setting your kit up for the final time, like you're actually about to use it, please, please, please remember to set your, what do you call them? Set your endpoints, right? Because as you can see here, when I turn this, if I turn it too far, it pulls the arm up. So you're gonna wanna set your endpoints so it does not do that. You wanna set it so it goes to full lock, but doesn't go any further and pull your arm up. That will change your entire experience when the car's, hey, what's up, bro? Oh, hey, how you doing, man? When the car's waving at you. I think I've been awake too long today. I'm starting to get loopy. So next, of course, would be in the manual is to actually install the electronics. Now, the electronics for this kit, I am using the Hackmoto 13 5-turn motor, and I am using the Hacktronic Drift ESC. Now, open these bad boys up to show you exactly what they look like when they're not installed in the kit. So the Hacktronic from 3Racing, the ESC, comes with a fan, and this thing is a pretty beast mode fan. This thing actually sounds like a jet engine. Okay, this thing comes pre-soldered with all of its wires, pre-tinned for the wires for the motor, and pre-soldered for Deans, and comes with an extra Deans connector for your battery. All of the electronics are in here for you to be able to program it correctly, and everything, I don't know if you can see this or not, super clean. I was very happy with this when I opened the box. Lots of wire too. You don't actually have to buy any more wire. Now the motor itself, open this bad boy up too, comes with, there we go. The motor itself comes with the sensor wire, which is golden, and of course, a nice clean motor. Now, dig that. See those? I love how easy it is to solder into that type of port. Thank you, Hackmoto, for designing the motor to be like that. So I'll just set this stuff back off to the side again, and I'm actually going to now show you exactly what a kit looks like after Ketty gets a hold of it. Because again, he is an absolute pro when it comes to soldering and wire tucking. So watch this. This is amazing. Just pull the body off the kit that I've been running. So after he gets a hold of it, this is what your kit will look like. So you can see how clean his wiring is. Motor wires are exactly how long they need to be, and he's zip tied them to the actual battery carrier. Shorten the wires here and here so that they fit perfect. And then he's run a gyro in the back just above the motor, the receiver down here underneath the top plate, and then of course the ESC right beside it, and the servo over here. Everything is exactly where it needs to be to have a very, very tight tuck for wiring and give the car the best balance that it can. So that is what his wiring job looks like. That's what the second car will eventually look like, I hope, in theory, if he'll do this one too. So next step though, again, get the battery trays screwed down. Now, you actually have the option if you wanted to put the battery in the middle or the battery on the back. Now I've got the battery in the middle on that one, and I'm going to set the battery in the middle on this one as well. So just break off the pieces from here. There's one, there's two. You need this. I'm just gonna set this off to the side for 1 second. This, and this. So those are the pieces that you need from there. This is actually a really neat battery tray solution. Just make sure that you have batteries that will fit in this. My Max Amps 6500 race pack is the exact correct size to fit in this thing. If it was a millimeter longer, a millimeter taller, or a millimeter wider, I wouldn't be able to use it. It would be too big. So it fits exactly. So if you head over to the Max Amps site, you will actually see exactly what that size is. And that may help you out. I like to use the hobby scissors on some of the stronger parts. That way it minimizes the chance that I'm cutting my thumb open today. And 3. One second here. Let's try not to chop myself up. And 4. These battery trays seem to be made out of a different plastic because this stuff is tough. There we go. All right, so the way that these battery trays work is actually pretty interesting. So they're actually going to sit like this, like that, on your chassis and hold the battery in. Now, each one has a couple different things on it. Number 1, a pin holder, and number 2, a screw that's going in. So first, I do the screws because it makes it easier to do the pin holder. So grab your screw, 10 mil flat. Actually, I'm gonna do these little ones first. They're these little tiny set screws, like grubs, like that. What you do is screw it into here, part way like that. And then this little guy here, another little plastic piece, is going onto that. Now what this is going to do is when, grab your little tire wrench here, when your door goes on here, like this, you put a body pin through here, like that, ta-da, to be able to hold it, and then the other screws on this side, so that literally you pull a pin, flip it open. Really, really awesome setup. I'm gonna do the other side real quick too. Hold on one sec. Might as well do these first. This is your countersunk screw with the little color accent. Screw that in like this. And that's it. That's what one side of it looks like. Just like that. Now what you do is you pull the pin, it flips open, and that's exactly how that works. So give me 1 second. I'm gonna get the other side done as well. Once you get both these sides built, again, they look just like that, they have to get fastened in to the chassis itself right there. Now you'll notice you don't necessarily have the screws. Where are my screws? Well, at this point, you just tap into bag 9. It actually shows it in the instructions in the bottom right-hand corner saying, hey, just jump into bag 9, you'll get the screws that you need. Now that's just a couple parts, like your tires and the back mount system. But most importantly, you've got this little guy here, which has that bag full of screws that you need, as well as things like wheel nuts. So, but just for now, I'm gonna open that bad boy up, and I need 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those little tiny 6 mil countersunk screws, because there's actually, as you can see here, 4 per. So I'll just get the one, show you real quick. Ba, ba, ba. Now you can size your different batteries. So if you had a shorty or a normal 3-cell pack, you can slide it in this way, you can slide it this way, you can slide it this way to measure it for the width of your pack itself. Again, on mine, I put it to the widest width, and that was my max amps pack. So just give me 1 second to throw that screw in there. And then I'll toss one in here. And then just kind of for visibility's sake, I'll toss one on each side on this way too, just to kind of show you what it looks like when it's put together. So ta-da and ta-da. So I'll put the 4 more screws in off camera, but you can kind of see now exactly what it looks like. The battery goes across the side, and of course you can size it a little bit bigger, or sorry, a little bit smaller. It can't get any bigger than that, but smaller if that will better fit your pack. And of course you do have the optional method of mounting it on the back of the kit so it actually hangs off the rear. So, I mean, again, it depends on what you want and how much weight you actually want to have hanging off the rear of the kit itself. So that is the end of this bag. That's the end of bag 6, which is getting the servo, all the electronics installed, and the battery setup itself. Please remember to click on the like, click on subscribe, comment below, and share this throughout your community. And don't forget to head over to RC Mart just to kind of check to see on this kit and maybe anything that you want to pick up. That Hacktronic and Hack Moto system and the OMG servo, all picked up from RC Mart. And you can also get yourself the gyro that I talked about on the kit that's done, as well as the aluminum servo horns you can also get there too. So please go ahead and check that out. And if you have any questions, again, still just put them in the comment section below. So thank you very much for watching the video, guys. Go check out the rest of the series. And of course, have yourself a great day.